Okay, guys, take two. Day four. Continuing on. So around September of that year, about 6 months um, after I had first met her, was the day that I finally had the courage to ask her out. And what you have to realize is that in those 6 months, there were definitely, in hindsight, a lot of opportunities I had to do the same thing, but yeah, I was either way too afraid to say anything, or something came up, or I just kept making excuses. So I remember that day like it was just another day. I didn't have class that day, so I texted her and asked her if she wanted to hang out, and she said, "Sure, let's go to the mall." So we ended up going to the mall, and there really wasn't. I wouldn't say there was way too much um, information that I need to talk about for that when we went there. Aside from the story that I'll probably get to in another day, where the one thing I bought when we went to the mall was we went to the store and I bought this a ring that Chrissy had said that looked kind of cool on me, so I decided to buy it. It was only about $20. I mean, so I remember going throughout that whole day, just trying to figure out like the best opportunity I had to ask her, to go on a date. And every time I thought I might have had something, I chickened out, obviously, like I had for the entire duration of the time I had known her. And even past the point where we decided to get a little snack in the afternoon and ate in the food court. And that was probably, like, in hindsight, the best opportunity for me to ask, but I still didn't take that chance. And so finally, on the way home, I forgot to mention that I'd driven her to the mall. I picked her up from her house. We didn't drive separate. So on the way back to her place, we had passed by what was it? We passed by a Taco Cabana, and I had told her that aside from this one time where I had breakfast tacos from there from work the previous year, I had never really had their food in like a good amount of years. So sorry. So I told her that I told her, geez, I haven't had that in like forever. And so she said, you should have told, she told me that I should have told her that before, that we could have like, just ate there instead of at the food court. And so I said, without even thinking about it, I was just like, that's alright, we can do that next time. And so she answers and she's like, yeah, or we could go somewhere a little fancier. And then, like, that really took me back, and I was like, wait a minute. And I was pretty dumbfounded, I guess you could say, after she said that, because I was just like, did she just say what I think she said? So, anyway, long story short, I was like, I told her, I was like, yeah, sure. It's like, just mark it down, it's a date. And she just left. And, I'm sorry if you think that this was going to be something where, like, I pulled out roses or something stupid. Well, I wouldn't say stupid, but, something over the top. And I'm sorry if you thought that I was actually gonna. I mean, I guess technically in that aspect, I didn't really do it. She kind of did. But, after that, I dropped her off, and then, when I came home, I was like, I was shaking again. I was like, I was like, confused as to what just happened. So, like, for hours, I was like trying to figure out, okay, where can we go? What can we do? Trying to figure, like, try to be meticulous about it, trying to plot out everything to the second to make this perfect. Then, like, then I, started to think to myself, I was like, I had realized that I had known her for a decent amount of time. I wouldn't say a long time, but long enough time that if we had only even just gotten on, say, like, a date or two, was that long enough for me to introduce her to my family? Now, for those of you that don't really know me, I think I've said this before, that my family's pretty tight-knit, that if I say anything to one member of my family, my entire family knows it. And when I mean my entire family, I don't mean just my mom, my dad, my brother. I mean, like, all my aunts, all my uncles, my cousins, and all that. And what you have to realize is that my mom's side of the family, almost all of us live here. I have, thinking at the top of my head, I have almost 20, close to 20, I don't think it's 20 of them here. My cousins, sorry, on my mom's side right here. So, when I came to realize that, especially I came to realize growing up, that you really shouldn't introduce anyone to the family unless you know that it's something, because, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter, but seeing one of my other cousins do what I was thinking about made me realize, I'm like, I gotta make sure this is set. Granted, Chrissy had been my friend for a while, but still I was just like, this has to be a sure thing. I don't want to introduce someone to my family that next week would be like, well, we're not going out anymore. So I was like, this put so much pressure on me, and maybe it didn't, but in my mind, this had to go perfect. This had to be amazing. So, I'll spare you the details because I'm gonna do. I'll tell about the first date on Monday, but yeah, it just really, made me anxious. Even, like I said, I'd never been anywhere with a girl. I mean, date wise, I mean, not, you know what I mean. So, but I guess I can go a little bit in a spoileristic kind of way, in the sense that, I mean, I pretty much found out eventually that I didn't have to worry about it. I mean, think about it. I had known this girl for a few months already, so, and she had known me, so it wasn't that important of a first date as you would think, just because of the fact that we already knew each other. That, in a normal first date, you try to find out stuff about the person, but in this case, we wouldn't know everything, obviously, but we knew a decent amount of stuff. I had learned about her past, some of the stuff that she's into, and vice versa for me. So it wasn't that big of a deal in hindsight. It's funny thinking about it. I talked with her after the fact about planning the first date, and she was just like, she just laughed, like wondering why the heck I was so nervous about it. And, like, she said the same thing, like, we were friends. We were, yeah, we were friends, so it didn't really matter. Like, I mean, it mattered, but it wasn't like, I guess it wasn't really a typical first date. So, I'm thinking this is where I'm gonna end this today. I can probably say a little bit more, but I'll probably leave it for Monday. Tomorrow I'll go into something else. Tomorrow I'll try to start tying this story into why I'm doing this for Lent, even though I already said why. And yeah, thanks for watching, and see you tomorrow.